Long time no see. It's Miss B, ready to drop all the tea. I haven't made a video in quite a while just because I wasn't ready to kind of start making YouTube videos again, but I've been waiting to make this specific video for a while now. In this video, I will be talking about how to find casting calls. Everyone always asks me, how do you find casting calls? I want to be on Netflix. I want to be on a Marvel movie. I want to find an open casting call. I want to be a TV series regular, but how do I find a casting call? First of all, just because you apply to one open casting call does not mean that is the road to Netflix. It takes a lot of hard work, a lot of training, and a lot of dedication, and you have to make sure that you're constantly working or submitting to casting calls. So I will be showing you all my tips and tricks, but it's up to you on how you want to use them. All I'm doing is just showing you how I find them. So if you're looking for musical theater auditions or Broadway, off-Broadway, small regional theaters, one of the best ways to find them is actually through playbill.com. Playbill.com does have a job dashboard where you can look for either tech jobs, stage manager roles, directing roles, along with performing roles as a singer, dancer, theater actor. There are a couple Instagrams that are Broadway casting offices. For example, the Telsey Company, they have an Instagram where they will post any TV that they are doing, film or Broadway. And usually they fall under the music genre. So there's usually, you have to dance, you have to sing, you have to act. There's also Tara Rubin casting, although I did find that they were posting on playbill.com rather than on their Instagram, but in the past they have posted on their Instagram. Safe to say playbill.com is usually pretty good. Now the second thing I want to get into is casting websites. Usually casting websites have a lot of casting and it's easy to submit. You have a profile, you have a picture, you have your resume, you have footage, either your self-tapes or reels, and you can easily apply to these castings for roles. With these casting websites, they do charge, and I actually spoke to some casting websites and I said, why do you charge? Because a lot of people want to know, and that's their biggest question. And there is some resistance joining that website because of the cost, or that it does involve a fee. Basically, the way they broke it down was life doesn't really run free. You have to think of the IT support, the different people that are working on the website. You also have to think about every time you send or upload and download something, you want to make sure that it is the highest quality, especially for high-end casting directors. They want to make sure that when they receive tapes, it's in the best quality and they get them as soon as possible and there's not a lot of bugs or issues. So that does cost money to run a website. But some of the casting websites that people use are Actors Access, Spotlight, Backstage, LA Casting, Casting Networks. These are just some that are based in the US. Spotlight specifically is in the UK. Now, how I find my casting calls is pretty simple, and people are gonna be really upset that it's actually pretty easy and everyone can do it. How I find casting calls is usually through Instagram. What I do is I go on Instagram and I find casting directors that I know are legitimate. And what that means is their following ratio is pretty good. They're similar people that they follow are in the industry, and the posts are personal or they are industry professional. For a casting call, I'm looking for dates, I'm looking for a breakdown, I'm looking for who's the studio that is casting, what project is it for, who's the director. Usually a casting call will have most or all of those things listed. So when you hit follow, there's automatically a drop down of suggested accounts to follow. What you can do is from there, just look through all of those casting accounts, and they are similar to what you just followed. So if you just followed a UK casting account that's pretty legit, it will give you more suggestions that fit that specific casting. From that drop down, if you just keep going and keep searching and keep adding, you're going to find a lot more casting accounts that are legit pretty quick time. Another great way to find casting calls is actually Facebook groups. There are a lot of Facebook groups for actors in every specific area. So if you find a city or even a region that you're a part of, they will most likely have an actor or TV film or casting call Facebook group. There are a lot of Facebook groups, and I know a lot of people don't usually like to use Facebook, But a lot of casting directors do have Facebook pages that they post pretty regularly, and they'd rather post on their Facebook than their Instagram. Another way to look for casting calls is to simply Google search. I know that sounds pretty dumb, but the amount that I found from a simple Google search and it led me to a casting website is pretty remarkable. The biggest thing with these open casting calls is to not expect an open casting call for your favorite show. A lot of shows that people like, such as Stranger Things, Umbrella Academy, Sex Education, anything Disney, they're looking for an open casting call whenever. And that's not necessarily the point. So how those casting calls work are usually through agent submissions. And what that means is the casting director will put out a casting call and only send it to a few people or a specific group. And they will ask those agents or those companies to submit their actors. And then those agents will see the casting call and submit their people. Usually it's done on a casting website, or they just reach out individually to agents that they know and trust, and they ask for clients to come in audition. Now, an open casting call, for example, Better Nate Than Ever, there was an open casting call for that. And same with the Percy Jackson series. You can't always bank on an open casting call, because the whole point of an open casting call is you can see literally everyone. That means if someone already has agent representation, they can audition. If someone already has theater credits, TV credits, any kind of tour credits, and they're on there, and maybe they're not signed yet, but they do have a lot of experience, you're also auditioning with those people as well. Along with the person that says, I've never taken an acting class, I really like it, and I have no experience, I'm gonna audition too. So open casting calls are really overwhelming because those casting offices get thousands and thousands and thousands of submissions for possibly just one role. So for those big shows that you see that do not have an open casting call, and you're really asking, Miss B, are they gonna have an open casting call? Miss B, how do I get in front of the casting team? The only person who decides to have an open casting call is the casting director. If they are on season 3, season 4, season 5, and they have never done an open casting call, it is very unlikely that they will automatically decide to have an open casting call in the later seasons. Now, I'm not saying it's impossible and it will never happen. I'm just saying it's very highly unlikely if they didn't do it for the first seasons. And there are some shows where they did have open casting calls for the first season. However, once they had that specific role or that casting set, they don't do any open casting calls for the next couple of seasons. And there's no way to really track an open casting call. You can look on IMDb Pro, you can look on Google, you can search the Twitter account, you can search the Instagram, you can search Facebook groups to see if there's any update to see if your favorite show or favorite casting director will have an open call, because it's ultimately up to that person to say, yeah, I'm open to have an open call. We don't know about it until they decide to announce it and they post, hey, I have an open casting call, come and audition. It's ultimately up to the director or the casting team to have an open casting call. For example, the America Ferrera casting call, no one knew and no one had any idea she would be posting an open casting call. It was in the works that she was directing this film, so we did know that, but we had no idea if she would do an open casting call. I don't know why I did this lighting, I'm just realizing it. I wanted some backlight, I wanted it to be cool because I just didn't like this white wall, but I do like that Frida is here, so that's me trying, especially not doing a video for almost a year now. But I hope you liked this video. I hope it was helpful. If you have any other questions or maybe any other topics that I should talk about, please leave a comment. Please hit a like button. Subscribe to this channel. Best of luck. Later.